I turned 30 years old last June, and I really have to say, I've had a lot of experiences growing up. My first relationship when I was 17, made many friends that turned out to be not so good, made a lot of new friends that turned out to be good. And through many trials that I've been through with many emotions, through certain ordeals, I feel that I've developed very well into an emotionally mature person. Through the many things that I've been through, whether it be breakups, betrayals, obsessions, even though they made me incredibly sad and heartbroken, in the end, every single experience I went through in life, it made me feel stronger. It made me grow stronger, healthier, smarter. Even though you have times where you feel very depressed at one point in your life, every time you go through an ordeal like that, you can use it as an opportunity to make yourself a stronger, healthier person by not letting yourself go down rock bottom like that again. With every ordeal of sadness that you go through, for the next ordeal of sadness, you'll face it a lot better. At least that's through my experiences. I learned from the first and so far only relationship I ever had when I was 17 and 18. Even if you feel like you truly love someone, even if you feel like you want to be with them forever and ever, they still might not be the best match for you. Sure, you might be sad at first when things don't work out, but as time will go on, you'll realize that they weren't the best for you. You'll realize that they weren't exactly the happiest and healthiest person for you. That there might be better opportunities for both of you out there. And also, you have to understand that just because a relationship seems wonderful, fairy tale and honeymoon during the first few months, the first few months is all it takes for things to change. Have you ever heard of stories of yanderes? Those super obsessive lovers that do crazy things? I've heard many stories about them through YouTube videos of scary stories, especially through Let's Read, one of my personal favorites. And I've learned from many other things that after the whole honeymoon phase is over, after the first few months, things can go south. Things can turn on a dime and not go well. One of the biggest warning signs that I personally look out for is jealousy. If someone is jealous of a friend or a family member, that's a red flag. If your lover doesn't want you to have balanced relationships with your friends and family, if they want you to focus way too much time on them, that's a red flag too. But one of the biggest warning signs that I know of that a lot of people don't seem to know about and should really be more careful about is falling in love too strongly, too quickly. That is often a major red flag. If you've only known someone for like 3 or 4 months and already you deeply fall in love with them, like you suddenly feel like that they're the most attractive person in the world, or you simply cannot live without them and cannot imagine life without them. The thing is, falling in love that strongly, too quickly, so quickly, that's a red flag. And that's also very emotionally immature. You really shouldn't think that strongly about anybody, especially if you struggle with mental things. Yeah, it can be really frightening when someone gets too attached to you, or when you get too attached to someone. You really need to be able to imagine yourself in many different situations and make sure that you can work through that. You never know, after you've known someone for 5 or 6 months, you may not know them well enough to understand that. You never know. They might be a yandere, and it could either be a gradual change or even worse. It could simply be a flip of the switch. That's why for me, personally, I don't trust myself to develop romantic feelings for someone unless I've known them and spent a lot of time with them for a really long time. And I don't mean social media, no. And I don't mean time in a group either. I need to spend one-on-one personal time with them, just the two of us, for long enough for me to trust them. It is good hanging out with them in groups too, just to see what kind of person they are around others. But the thing is, from all of the things that I have seen about toxic relationships and how people can get stuck in them, I'm extremely careful to keep my emotions in check and never allow myself to get too desperate, and never allow myself to fall too hard too quickly, and never allow anyone who falls too hard too quickly for me to suffer through those toxic emotions. It would be very dangerous to return those feelings, because you could be playing into a potential obsession. Yeah, sorry I'm rambling on about this. It's just that I see stories about this all the time. That's how it always is in bad relationships and relationships that don't end up working out well. They always start out fine, and then they turn on a dime. That's why you've always got to be prepared. Remember, if your relationship does start to go bad, do not ignore the red flags. Ignoring the red flags will only make you dive deeper down into that rabbit hole. And the deeper down the rabbit hole you travel, the harder it will be to climb out of it. I can understand why some people can't just leave a toxic relationship. One of the main reasons why is that they hold on to these hopes. Not just any hopes, but toxic hopes. Toxic hopes that keep them hanging on, hoping that the past could come back, that things could go back to the way they were. See, hanging on to hopes like that is toxic. That's when hope is not a good thing. Because by continuing to hang on to those hopes that things could miraculously work out, and that you are willing to continue to suffer through this toxicity in some fruitless hopes that things could go back to the way they were, you're only causing yourself more suffering. If you're hurting yourself, hanging on to these hopes, and continuing to endure all that abuse, all that sadness, all that toxicity, you might just have to face the fact that things can never go back to the way they were when you first started out. But what you can do is find it in your heart to let go of those toxic hopes and instead find happiness in the people already in your life that care, or find new people to love and care about you. The world is so vast. There will always be people who will love and care about you. Likely there are already people who love and care about you. You just have to acknowledge them. You just have to see them for their compassion, care, and love for you, and not for other things that turn you off. Sometimes a person's love and care for you, their empathy, and them feeling sadness for you is what you really, truly need to recover from a horribly depressing and traumatic ordeal. Sometimes you need to let go of certain preferences to embrace the people in your life that truly do care. Sometimes it would take letting go of a community that has done nothing but abuse and betray you. It will give you time to find a new community to love. Or if someone that you once loved very deeply completely betrayed you, try not to hang on to too many hopes that things could work out between you two. You need to acknowledge those who truly love and care about you. Sometimes you need to understand what true love and care really is. Value people more for their actions and their feelings and how they make you feel. Yeah. One thing that I do to keep myself emotionally healthy is that I keep my passions, my creative passions, and my personal relationships as separate as possible. I guess I could sometimes have my friends help me out a little bit with my creative passions, but the thing is, I need my creative passions as an outlet to go to whenever I'm feeling sad about something. If something doesn't work out with a friend or something, I need a creative outlet. I need something to turn to help me feel better. And if I were to merge my passions and personal relationships, then if one of those things goes bad, I could lose two of my most precious worlds that make me happy and healthy. That's why, when it comes to my creative passions, except for very special cases, I like to keep things strictly business. That's why I try not to make friends with or date coworkers. That's a strict rule that I have. Don't get too personal with people that you work with. Otherwise, if you lose one of those things, it will make the other thing that much more painful. I think that's the reason why my taste in men is the way it is. Like, I don't need a guy that can do digital artwork or write like me. We don't need to share the same passions. I like to keep my projects strictly to myself and to my coworkers without any personal involvement. My soulmate would be my escape from the stresses of that world. My soulmate will be able to help me feel happiness outside my passions. That's what will be truly healthy, and that's why I treasure my relationships with my friends so much. I like friends and people in general who can help me enjoy things besides my artwork. If we can talk about literally anything that I absolutely love, then that's healthy for me. It's okay if they would be interested to hear one of my stories every once in a while, but they don't have to be completely in love with my stories and characters. The sole purpose of my soulmate is to give me happiness on the other side of my emotional heart. Same thing with my friends as well. Dividing passions from relationships, keeping the worlds separate so that neither one will corrupt the other. That's the way I roll. That's how I keep myself healthy and emotionally strong. By the way, if you guys are ever wondering about other reasons why I know so much about mental health and the importance of good relationships, warning signs, and other things like that, feel free to check out my health motivational playlist. You can find it on my channel. It's a collection of videos that I favorited that talk about not only physical health, about nutrition and how to have a healthy body, but also a collection of videos that teach you ways on how to be healthy mentally. Mostly from a site known as Psych2Go. I really gotta say, the soothing voices of that site, as well as those characters with the leaves on their heads, it's a very appealing site. Sometimes I wish that Psych2Go could just give me a script and I could offer them my unique voice, and perhaps they could pay me to narrate some of their videos. People have said that my voice is very soothing. It would be so cool if I could work for that YouTube channel somehow, some way. That would be a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments if you think that's something you guys would want to see. Be sure to check out the Psych2Go videos that I collected on my health motivational playlist. Wow, this is going on for 21 minutes now. I think I should stop at this point. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video enjoyable. Be sure to subscribe and be sure to check out my animations as well. That's the one thing I want people to see the most, my creative work. Okay, see you guys later.